All right, welcome to this it's the first Forecasting with Friends of the month of December. And I'm Mike Iscovitz. Of course, I'm here by myself today, but that's okay because I have all of you to keep me company here on Forecasting with Friends. Lots to talk about in the world of weather. The thing is, here locally, our weather really couldn't be nicer. We have some big time weather hitting the Great Lakes. We've talked about that. And also welcome not just to December, but to no more hurricane season. Hurricane season ended on Saturday, November the 30th, and so we could say goodbye to that. But here's a look back at some of the headlines from now the end of hurricane season. We ended up with 5 landfalling hurricanes along the Gulf Coast. And by the way, that's not to mention the tropical storms that also hit the Gulf Coast, mostly the Gulf Coast of Mexico, but there were lots and lots, right? Of course, Beryl hit us as a Category 1. However, it was actually record-setting because before it hit Texas, as it was moving into the Caribbean Sea, it went through this rapid intensification that we've seen with so many storms. It reached Category 4 status on June 30th, and it was the earliest Category 5 on record. That happened back on July 1st. After that, later on in the season, Hurricane Milton became the strongest hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico since Hurricane Rita back in 2005. Also, when you take this season as a whole, it was the second costliest season on record in terms of dollars, $200 billion estimated damages. And of course, most of that was from Beryl, which hit Texas, and of course Helene, was the catastrophic storm that hit Florida and western North Carolina in particular. When we take a look at the numbers here, the season by the numbers, we had 18 storms that got a name, ended with Sarah. We had 11 of those that became hurricanes, and 5 of those became major hurricanes. In an average year, you would have 14, 7, and 3. So we had 18, 11, and 5. So it was very much above average. And when you look at the predictions that came from NOAA, granted, they give a pretty wide range, but they were definitely on the right track, calling for a very above average season. So comparison to 14 typical on average named storms, they predicted between 17 and 24 named storms. We had 18, so they hit that one. They predicted between 8 and 13 hurricanes. We had 11, so right on the button there. And NOAA also anticipated between 4 and 7 major hurricanes. Of course, we had 5, so they nailed that one as well. All right, taking you back here home, what to expect for today. It is going to be a dandy of an afternoon, just a fantastic one, with temperatures rising here into the upper 60s here locally. Off to our east, it's actually been a pretty chilly fall season, late fall over in Louisiana. New Orleans at 62 for a high temperature today, and about 70 over in San Antonio and in Corpus Christi. Right outside, if you're watching us live here for Forecasting with Friends here on this Monday morning, the Woodlands still hanging in there at 58 degrees, Katy at 61, Missouri City at 64, League City 61, and Galveston Island right now is 63. And most of these areas are seeing temperatures a little bit cooler than yesterday, when a lot of spots did make it into the low 70s. And I almost feel guilty. Maybe you're watching us here through your Fox Local app on your phone. That would be the way to do it, because the weather is so nice outside. It would be a shame to waste it on the inside, although I really do appreciate you watching. So that's a roundup of what's happening with the end of hurricane season and a little preview of what we're seeing here locally. And now on to the good stuff, on to the interesting stuff. So after a really sort of maybe a yucky Thanksgiving here with family and friends, I wanted to take you out to Mammoth Mountain in California. They had snow on Thanksgiving. The ski resort there has logged its snowiest November in 14 years. More than 60 inches of snow fell in the month of November. 29 inches fell in just a few days. How'd you like that job? Goodness gracious. Skiers and snowboarders definitely ready to check out the slopes. But sometimes when they have crazy snow that falls like that, then they have to be, on the lookout for avalanches too. But that, I don't know, scenes like that remind me of The Shining, I think. All right, Christmas tree farmers say that finding the perfect tree might be a little bit tougher this year than you're used to. The Wall Street Journal is reporting Christmas tree farms, particularly in North Carolina, where they grow a lot of them, are going to have fewer trees to offer. Of course, that has to do with things like inflation, but also the rotting of their roots that had to do with flooding that took place, also labor shortages. A lot of that had to do with Helene as well, and drought. That sort of, you had, extreme rain, and then you had drought, and then more extreme rain and more drought. One farmer says that he lost 60,000 trees from his home and his home from Hurricane Helene. The USDA says that harvested trees are down 30% since 2002. We have one of those pre-lit trees. Well, Christmas will be here before you know it, so if you plan to ship any gifts to your friends or family, the U.S. Postal Service is posting their holiday shipping deadlines to make sure that you get everything sent out on time. So, for anywhere in the continental United States first-class mail, the deadline is December 18th. Priority mail, December 19th, and Priority Mail Express, you can wait until December the 21st, although, the earlier the better, I think, is the good rule of thumb there. All right, so staying on the subject of Christmas, we're going to be talking about travel weather and what to expect, of course, in the days to come. We also have Allison coming up next with a look ahead at the winter forecast. Don't go away. All right, if you're planning on driving to your holiday destination, you will want to make sure that your car is ready for the cold. Fox's Brady Talbert has more on how cold snaps affect cars and what you could do to protect yours.
Those battery problems never happen at a good time or a good place.
Clay Ingram with AAA Alabama says your car is much like you. It does not enjoy the extreme temperatures. Most car batteries only last about 3 years, and the frigid air can shorten its lifespan even more. If you have had your battery for a couple years, he recommends you get it checked before it's too late and your car won't crank.
They've got some great battery testers out there now that can tell you sort of the general health of your battery. So you know that if it's, it can tell you if it's, in pretty good shape or in terrible shape and about to go out on you, or somewhere in between. And that way you can make an informed, educated decision about when and where to replace that battery.
We're all guilty of sometimes ignoring the warning lights on our dashboard, but it could eventually cost you. The cold weather is going to make your tire pressure drop. If your tires need to be 34 psi and your gauge shows 32, you will likely be okay. But if you get below 30 psi for most cars, AAA says you really need to address it.
Having underinflated tires can make you more prone, more likely to have a blowout or a flat of some kind. It wears your tires out a lot faster, and it also affects your gas mileage. You lose 2% of your fuel efficiency for every pound of pressure a tire is underinflated.
Hey everyone, it's Fox 26 Houston meteorologist Allison Gargaro. Hope you're having a great day. I want to go through the weather that we have seen over the last few weeks and that we will expect to see over the next few weeks and even months. So we get an update on our drought monitor every week on Thursday. So it is early in the week. And I just want to show you that there's a good portion of our viewing area that is either out of a drought or just considered dry. Means that's a 1 out of 5, very low drought activity. But you can see points well out to our west. We're talking Austin to San Marcos, even San Antonio. They are in the extreme drought, meaning they have not seen rain in quite some time. And honestly, for us, it's been a little while. We have been monitoring, several fronts rolling through, but they've been pretty lackluster in the way of any measurable rainfall. So that will be changing. But I do want to zoom you out across the country, and there are some streaks just to our north and west. That does include the panhandle of both Texas as well as in Oklahoma. You can see right here portions of St. Louis, and then out west where they have seen a lot of rain. You remember us talking about the atmospheric river that was hitting Northern California all the way up to the Pacific Northwest? Well, yeah, that's completely taken them out of the drought, and hopefully that will help in creating some pretty good snowfall, because I think folks are excited to get on the ski mountains and hills across the the country. But there are some spots you can see everywhere that's shaded in this red and dark red color that are really in need of rain. And I think a lot of folks are wondering, okay, well, is it going to come? When? What can I expect? Well, for us here in Southeast Texas, the answer is yes, sometime midweek and then potentially continuing into the end of the week. Right now, it looks like we're really going to be forecasting Wednesday, potentially late Tuesday night, but really Wednesday is when we'll start to see that rain on the rise. Then a weak front moves through and could be seeing some more showers after that. So we're looking at early this week through the start of next weekend. Most of our viewing area has a chance to see 2 to potentially 2.5 inches of rain. Now, when we show these rainfall forecasts, it's an accumulation, meaning it's not all going to be happening at once. I mean, yes, there is the chance that we do see some heavier bands of rain move overhead, but in total, over a 3 to potentially 4 day span is when we could be seeing this amount of rainfall. Now, let's actually take you out to what our models are looking at. I think a lot of folks are wondering, okay, well, what's the timing on this thing? We are still having dry air overhead. Chance for maybe a few isolated coastal showers, but a lot of that's going to be shifting well to our south Monday throughout the day on Tuesday. But here you go. You start to see a few of those isolated showers creeping up mainly south of our viewing area. And it's likely going to stay put until Wednesday rolls around. There's going to be a trough in the Gulf of Mexico. And we talk about tropical moisture. I don't want that to scare anyone. We're not saying any tropical development. It's literally just saying where the rain is originating from, and it's in the tropics. And when we see a lot of that tropical moisture comes up, that also helps aid in rising temperatures, a little bit more humidity. So basically, it's going to be bringing some rain across the Texas coast, and then it starts to move inland across southeast Texas on Wednesday. Well, we're still going to be seeing those shower chances continue through the end of the week. So looking ahead, December 7th through the 11th, it does look like our rain chances, not just here in southeast Texas and along the Gulf Coast, but also inland, going to be looking at wetter than average conditions, meaning we're likely to be seeing on and off rain through that time period. So we're getting into December now, and it's something that we'll be looking at a bit longer term. Also, folks, up in the Dakotas to Minneapolis, out to Montana, going to be seeing that rain. But take a look at this dry air that's just going to be dominant across really the entirety of California, Nevada, and then moving into the Four Corners region. Could be a bit drier across the Northeast during that time. But let's talk about temperatures. Whoa, we're basically split right around the midsection of the U.S., and that almost includes us here in Houston. We are not cooler than average and not warmer than average. So like right in the sweet spot of pretty mild weather. Out west, you can see heat builds, and they are going to be well above average for this time of year. And across the Northeast, really dark purple color that you're seeing, that's that Arctic air that basically just won't go away. So they are going to be staying very, very cold. And for them, not going to be seeing much in the way of precipitation, at least during that time frame. Things are definitely going to change as we're going to likely start to see fronts and areas of low pressure begin to make their way across the country. That just happens during this time of year. Now, Houston likely going to be a bit warmer than average during that time frame as well. But I think a lot of folks are wondering, okay, I mean, it's been cold. You probably need a jacket to go walk the dog. I mean, if you really don't like the cold, maybe have the gloves on. But when are we really going to see our first freezes across the viewing area? This is a look at the average time frame of when we see the first freeze. Houston coming up in just a few days, but with our extended outlook, we actually look warmer than average during that time. So I'm really thinking that that's going to be pushed off a few days, if not few weeks. And obviously, as soon as we know, we will let you guys know. Galveston on the 17th of December, but take a look at Huntsville, College Station, out to Beaumont. They usually see their first freezes at the end of November, and that hasn't happened yet. Yes, I mentioned it's been cold, but definitely not any freezes. We haven't seen any of those freeze warnings, anything like that. So we're going to keep you guys updated as soon as we know. But honestly, looking ahead to our 3-month outlook, southern half of the country and even the eastern half look to be warmer than average. And it's just going to be some folks up in the Northwest and the most northern states in the United States that will be seeing that colder Arctic air move in. Now, we want to let you know that this is an outlook, an overall look at what 3 months will look like on average. That doesn't mean that we're not going to be seeing some strong areas of low pressure bringing the colder temps and then potentially some big storms. Like during the same period, precipitation outlook, the southern half of the U.S., pretty much from LA all the way to the Carolinas, looking to be drier on average, where we could be seeing some wet spells. And again, when we talk about these areas across the Great Lakes, that means we could be seeing even more lake effect snow. And just this past weekend, some spots in upstate New York, Pennsylvania, anybody that was basically along Lake Erie saw more than 40 inches of snow. That was during holiday travel. Obviously makes it difficult for folks. But we're going to continue to bring you the latest, as always, on what we can expect longer term so that you guys can stay prepared. Always remember to stay up to date with the latest weather where you live on the free Fox Local app. It's free to download on your phone as well as your smart TV. Have a great rest of your day, guys.
Allison, thank you very much. All right, the Texas winter lights have returned to the Marriott Marquis downtown Houston. Coco Dominguez tells us what to expect from the holiday experience in today's Bayou City Buzz.
This is definitely one of the most wonderful times of the year, especially in downtown Houston with views like this and twinkling lights everywhere here at the Marriott Marquis. Texas Winter Lights is back for the 4th time.
Absolutely, and we're delighted to have you here at the Marriott Marquis Houston. We have over 100,000 lights on display, beautiful photo booths that people actually can take some great Christmas pictures in there. In addition to that, we have our water, which will be heated to 85 degrees.
That is the best part.
Nice and comfy. This year, we have 2 snow sled drives instead of 1.
Oh, we had the VR, right?
The VR
where you can
rides.
go and Santa Claus is there this year again.
And there are 3 different rides. We have great food, festive drinks. Who doesn't like a good espresso martini? Right?
Let's raise our hand to
There
that
we
one.
go.
As it gets winter, it'll make a little bit more sense with those hot chocolate and those drinks like that.
Absolutely. Besides all these great things that we have with food and beverage, we have some concerts, but we have movie nights, karaoke nights. We have a DJ that comes every day almost.
Guys, I'm telling you, the bang that you're gonna get for your buck here is amazing. You're literally overlooking all of Houston Pier, and we're talking $30 adults, $20 kids 2 to 12.
Absolutely. Kids under 2 years old are complimentary, so please bring the kids to this wonderful show. Besides that, I don't know if you noticed, but we have a beautiful igloo over there.
Yes.
This igloo can be rented for $250 and it's for 2 hours, and you can customize. You can have bottle service in there.
Oh, it's nice and warm in here. You got blankets? Seriously. Overlooking Houston? All I need is that bottle service you were talking about. And you also have a little special something if you want to pop the question. We won't tell her or him. We won't tell them.
Create the perfect moment with the Merry and Bright Proposal Package. It includes a bottle of champagne, hors d'oeuvres, Texas winter lights, and a luxurious night in the Marriott Marquis Suite.
Guys, if you don't know, this is how we celebrate Christmas in Texas. I'm Coco Dominguez, reporting from the Marriott Marquis, 1777 Walker Street, Fox 26 News. Salud. Get down to business.
She always gets the good assignments, right? All right, coming up after the break, we're going to talk about some lake effect snow that is hitting the Great Lakes region of the United States and, of course, our local forecast, so stay tuned for that. All right, check this out. So this is what's happening up around the Great Lakes. This is a live Foxcam view from western New York State. So this is an area off to the south of Buffalo, where if you were watching the Bills and 49ers game yesterday, man, that was crazy, the amount of snow that fell before the game and then during the game as well. So this is an example of lake effect snow that is occurring in that part of the country. So right now, the temperatures up there are in the 20s and low 30s, but just cold enough above the surface of the lakes there, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Huron, Lake Michigan, and Lake Superior. Those are the Great Lakes up there. Just enough of a difference between the cold air and the relatively warmer water temperatures to generate that lake effect snow. Now, if you want to know more about it, I'm going to go into it in a lot more detail on Mondays with Mike, which airs right here at 1 p.m. Right now, everything looks great out there. We have some of those high clouds, but otherwise just a beauty of a day. I want to show you how things are going to be changing, though. So here's our exclusive Fox model, and here's what it's showing for us heading into tomorrow morning with increasing cloud cover. Still, I think, a nice Tuesday. I don't think we're going to have any big problems, but there might be a sprinkle or two. Now, I pause the action here Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. when I expect the rain to begin to move into the area. And check this out. As we progress through the day on Wednesday, a coastal low or a coastal trough moves over the area and could briefly bring some pretty decent downpours. So Wednesday does look like potentially a busy day in spots. As far as anticipated rain, this is the outlook from NOAA's Weather Prediction Center for rainfall totals. And this just paints with a broad brush. It's not going to get you down to like neighborhood level. But in general, across our area, we're looking for about 2 to 3 inches of rain beginning Wednesday and extending through Sunday. Heavier rain off there to our east into Louisiana. So it's not to say that 1 or 2 spots couldn't get a little bit more than that, especially if you get stuck under a downpour. But in general, we're not looking for anything too, catastrophic around here. Current conditions right now, Galveston Island, breezy, a northeast wind at 16 miles per hour. Tomball, 62 degrees right now with an east breeze, and in Sugar Land, also 63 with a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky. Low temperatures tonight. Around here, we're going to make it down to the middle 40s. Of course, it depends on what part of town you're in. A lot of places, though, will be feeling the deep freeze. Memphis, about 25 degrees. Shout out to Director Ishmael. It's cold up there in Memphis, man. 26 Oklahoma City, so really a lot of cold air in place across much of the country. As far as our local forecast for the rest of the afternoon, clear and cool. I mean, it really does look terrific with really seasonable, like near average temperatures for this time of the year. Tonight, I think we will get chilly again. It's not going to freeze or anything like that, but I think we're looking for low to middle 40s, kind of similar to what we had this morning, so definitely a chill to the air. Tomorrow, the issue is going to be increasing clouds. So we will probably turn out to be a little bit cooler tomorrow than today, just because the clouds are going to start to thicken up a little bit by the afternoon. So maybe middle 60s for high temperatures tomorrow, if not even low 60s in some spots. So about 68 today. Down to the middle 40s tonight, some low 40s, about 65 for tomorrow. Very slight chance of a shower, especially along the coastline or south of Houston. And then beginning Wednesday, that area of low pressure that I showed you a moment ago starts to ride its way up the coastline and brings us some showers and thunderstorms. And then it looks like we'll stay sort of unsettled as we head into Thursday, Friday, and the upcoming weekend. Notice no huge temperature swings. So we're not looking for a freeze. We're not looking for anything really warm either. Kind of right around seasonable temperatures for this time of the year. All right. I want to just once again invite you to not only stick with us for Fox 26 News at noon coming up in 30 minutes, but also Mondays with Mike, which airs after Chatting with Chelsea, coming up at 1 p.m. today when we go into deep detail about what lake effect snow is.